It's time for Waking Up with Wesley, today's forecast and weather-wise discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm senior meteorologist Wesley Williams. So we've got a full moon today. It's going to rise tonight, January's full wolf moon, which will apparently be a supermoon. And even though the full moon is tonight, sometimes on the night before and after, it looks just as full and can be just as impressive. So if you don't happen to get a view on Friday night, it basically looks about the same to the naked eye on Thursday night and on Saturday night, the nights around the full moon. And we've actually already received some pictures of the moon because it actually had a halo around it. And I'm going to take you right to our website, WLOX.com/weather, where you can find the viewer submitted pictures on our page. That would be just at WLOX.com/weather, and then you'd see the video picture area on the right. So I'm going to go through a bunch of these. Notice that we have this picture from Wendy showing, what's this? There's the moon. This was sent to us 12 hours ago, so last night on Thursday night. And then look, this halo, this ring around the moon. I know you can see it there, but maybe if I increase the size of the picture and make it a little bit bigger, check out that. It's a perfect circle around the moon. What's going on with that? And Wendy wasn't the only one that sent a picture. We can go through several more. Bessie sent this picture in from Biloxi. Look how bright. It almost looks like there's multiple halos, but yeah, there certainly is that. You can't miss it, that outer halo right there. That ring. Sent in a couple of pictures. We also had another picture from Ashley. And a lot of times when you see a picture like this, I'm going to blow it up so you can see it bigger. Of course, you have the bright moon right there in the middle and that bright ring around it. Looks like there might be a star or a planet next to the moon. And then this right here is actually just the reflection of the moon and the camera's lens. A lot of people call these like, oh, there's an orb in the camera, that's a ghost. But actually, if you search this up, I actually did a video on this years ago. When you take a picture with a camera, even your smartphone camera, the bright moon gets reflected through the camera's mirrors and lenses, and it gets put out somewhere else on the image if you're not holding the image perfectly centered. So anyway, just a quick did you know about that? And maybe a couple more. We got one more picture from Allie showing a cool halo around the moon. You can see that little sort of lens flare there, if you will, artifact. And maybe one or two more. This is Cindy from Stocher. Huge lunar halo, too pretty not to share. Just incredible. I love this one. You've got a nice composition with the trees there in the foreground. If we blow that up, you can see just so impressive. It probably takes your breath away to see that in person, if it looks this impressive on camera. And then the final one I'll wrap up with here, Miracle, who decided to be a little dramatic and said that it looks like a portal. Actually, I already have this video opened in a separate tab, so we'll just click play on that. And yeah, wow. Again, just breathtaking. And there's that little, look at how the little orb moves around. That's what I was talking about. That's the reflection of the moon's light in the camera lens, which will be angled opposite of the moon when you don't point the camera right at the moon. So not a ghost, not an orb, it's just the reflection of the moon. So what's going on here? What causes this? Well, it's actually the same effect that causes a sundog, if you know about those, which is basically the same effect with the moon instead of the sun. So what I've got here is what it would look like if you were looking at the sun and a sundog were showing up. This graphic is an explainer for a sundog, but you can basically interchange it with a moon halo because the same process causes both of those two phenomena. So the sunlight, or in this case moonlight, would be refracted by ice crystals in the sky. Those ice crystals come from clouds, right? And in this case, if it's a cloud that's high up in the sky, it's a cirrus cloud. Cirrus clouds are made of ice crystals. That's what causes this sort of phenomena. You have to have that moonlight or sunlight in the sky, but then you also have to have a layer of cirrus clouds. And when the light passes through those clouds, it's bent at a 22-degree angle before it reaches our eyes. And then what happens after that is we are then shown basically the bending of that light, which bends to create a 22-degree halo. And you can, of course, do a web search about this and get a much more detailed description. But in a nutshell, that's how a solar halo or a moon halo is formed. It's formed by the passing of light through clouds made of ice crystals, which are cirrus clouds. And there's folklore behind that. We hear it called "Ring Around the Moon Means Rain Soon." If you're an old timer, you might have heard about that, and there's actually some truth to that because usually if a rain system is approaching, the first type of clouds that you're going to see are going to be the higher level clouds, which are thin, high in the sky, and made of ice crystals, those cirrus clouds. And then right before the rain comes, then you get much lower clouds, thicker clouds, darker clouds, and that does not allow for light to pass through and create this phenomena. We'll talk more about the clouds in just a moment and more about the rain chances. But I do want to mention that this is the stats on tonight's full moon, Friday night's full moon, January's full wolf moon, which this time will be a supermoon, which don't get your hopes up too high. If you are a moon watcher, you know that a supermoon really just means it's only slightly bigger and slightly brighter than your typical full moon. So it's not going to be anything too dramatic, but you might notice it if you're looking at the moon tonight, that it is a little bit brighter than you're used to, slightly larger than you're used to. When I'm talking about comparing it, I'm talking about comparing it to a moon that is directly above you. All moons can appear larger when they are near the horizon. Supermoons, mini moons, regular moons, they all appear bigger by the horizon. This is in effect known as the moon illusion. You can web search that. But when we talk about the supermoon being bigger than a normal moon, we're talking about comparing them when they are directly overhead so that you don't have any of that moon illusion stuff going on. Anyway, we're going to be howling, right? Because it's the wolf moon. It's the time of year that wolves are more often heard howling. And it will technically be 100% full at 4 in the morning on Saturday, which means that tonight is the full moon, right? That 4 in the morning Saturday, the closest night to that is Friday night. I know you'll hear a lot about people saying that the full moon is on Saturday, and it's true, it is, but it's actually Saturday morning. By the time you get to Saturday night, it will be less full than Friday night, although, like I mentioned earlier, to the naked eye, you'll never be able to tell. Now those clouds, as we see the increase of them today, they're starting off as cirrus clouds, which means we're getting some filtered sunshine, but eventually they're going to become thick enough to kind of block out some of that sun later today. And I do think we're going to see some rain chances from them. The chances for rain today are in the 20% range, 20 to 30%. The chances for rain tonight are in the 50% range. And then the chances for rain tomorrow are going to start off around 50% in the morning before we see them decrease later on in the afternoon once a cool front has moved through. So that's kind of your main headlines. A mild, breezy, cloudier Friday before we see those rain chances today, tonight, and tomorrow. Cool front arrives tomorrow evening, and then, or really tomorrow afternoon, and then it turns cooler and drier for Sunday. We'll really quickly run through the rest of this, showing you that beautiful sunrise that we had earlier this morning with some of those clouds that I was just talking about passing through. And at this moment in time, if we take a live view during the 8 o'clock hour, we're seeing darker sky now, right? So the sun is literally being hidden. If we didn't have any clouds, the sun would be right here in this Gulfport view. But we actually have so many clouds, and they are so dark and thick and low that you actually can't see the sun, and you're also not getting that sun halo through them either. If they were darker clouds, or rather lower clouds in the sky, are not made of ice crystals. They are made of water droplets. And so that's a whole different type of thing. It does not allow for a halo or a sundog to form. In order for that to happen, you really need the ice crystals, the cirrus clouds, because those crystals are what causes the light to be bent at that certain 22 degree angle. Temperatures this morning are warmer. We're in the 50s. I mean, it's still cool out there. I would still wear long sleeves or a little light sweater, but it's not as chilly as it was yesterday morning. Highs this afternoon make it into the lower 70s, which is actually above normal for this time of year. So lower 70s is not very January-like, but it's what we'll have today, it's what we'll have tomorrow, and then we'll be closer to normal on Sunday. As far as first alert radar is concerned, it actually does show some rain in the picture. So, I mean, ring around the moon means rain soon. Check. The folklore is confirmed. First alert radar does have some rain on it during the 8 o'clock hour this morning. You zoom out, this is actually brought on by an upper disturbance, a weak upper disturbance that's moving from Texas into Oklahoma into Arkansas. The majority of this rain from this disturbance today is going to be north of us, northern Mississippi. It's going to mostly miss us on the coast today. We're seeing some sprinkles, but the majority of this rain is north. So that's why when you take a look at the futurecast, you really only see about a 10% chance for rain in South Mississippi this morning, increasing to a 20 to 30% chance for rain for Friday afternoon, and then increasing to 50% as we head into tonight and tomorrow. So some of our highest rain coverage, according to our computer blend of models, our blend of computer models, shows up around 8, 9, or 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. So if you have some Saturday morning plans, take an umbrella with you in case we see some of those scattered showers at times. And then a cool front arrives as we go to Saturday afternoon, and that's what dries the air out and helps us to see a lower rain chance just in time for your Saturday evening plans as well as Saturday night. So that's a forecast into the weekend. Today's rain chance 20 to 30%. Tonight and tomorrow's rain chance 40 to 50%. And then Sunday it's drier with no chance for rain at all. Now look at today, right? There is some real warmth across the Gulf Coast region. Our highs are going to be in the lower 70s in South Mississippi, but take a look at Texas. It's almost going to be 90 degrees today in San Antonio. It's January, y'all. So this is some really warm air, and because we have winds today from the west and southwest, we're kind of tapping into that warm up across parts of South Mississippi. But as we go to tomorrow, a cool front comes in from the north, and if you have travel plans on Saturday, you will need to pack warmer weather wardrobe if you're going into northern Mississippi, because tomorrow Jackson only has a high of 62 because they're going to already be feeling the cooling effects of that front. Now, that's because the front passes through Jackson earlier in the day. But for us in South Mississippi, it doesn't get here till the afternoon. So we're already going to be able to make it into the 70s. And that's why it's milder here in South Mississippi on Saturday afternoon. Then Sunday, the front has moved on and it's cooler everywhere. So we will join Jackson in the cool down Sunday, noticing that all our temperatures are into the cooler 60s, which is closer to normal, but still technically a little bit above normal. As we track that front on Futurecast, you can see the scattered showers in the region and maybe some isolated thunderstorms. Notice by noon, I'm seeing a few thunderstorm cells firing up over portions of Alabama and portions of the Florida Panhandle. So we'll keep an eye on those to see if they come a little bit closer to us. But today, it looks like the computer model really downplaying South Mississippi's rain and really focusing it mostly off to our east. And that area off to our east is where the Storm Prediction Center continues to highlight a probability of severe weather. The probability is rated on a scale of 1 to 5. They give it a 1, which is very low but not 0. So if you have travel plans east tomorrow into Alabama, Georgia, Florida Panhandle, there could be some severe storms over there, but the probability of that happening is very low. Now technically that little area does clip into South Mississippi, and the Storm Prediction Center will update this map by this afternoon. So we'll see if they move the map or if they increase the probability to 2 or 3 or decrease the probability to 0. We'll see. But the next update to this map doesn't really come until the middle of the day today, if not tomorrow. So in South Mississippi, most of us are free of any risk. But if you are near the Alabama line, parts of George County, parts of Jackson County, keep an eye on this. We'll see how close some of those stronger storms could come. What hazards will we be expecting? Not tornadoes, not damaging straight line winds, but instead the potential for maybe some hail, according to the Storm Prediction Center. So we'll see if we see any thunderstorms at all. We'll see how that fares. But I think the best way to put Saturday is some of us will see rain, a few of us could hear some thunder, and maybe hardly any of us will get any severe weather out of Saturday. So your rain chance on Saturday, 50%. Your thunderstorm chance on Saturday, 30%. Your severe thunderstorm chance on Saturday, like 10 to 20%, maybe 15%. So not really going to be that bad of a day for your Saturday, and then we turn drier on Sunday, and a much milder pattern next week with plenty of 70s. Let's take a peek at the 10-day right before we go, and you can see that maybe another cool down could be on the way by the time we get to the middle of January. Even though the middle of next week finds mild 70s, maybe by the second weekend of January, on the 10th and the 11th, there might be some rain chances along with a cool down. And you can see the highs in the afternoon dropping into the chilly 50s possibly on Sunday, January 11th on the coast. If we check the inland 10-day forecast, we can also see the potential for some of those chilly conditions as well, with 50s possible in a place like Wiggins on Sunday, January 11th. But of course, I caution you, anytime you go more than 7 days in the future, the forecast can flip-flop and change as we update the information day by day. Well, that'll pretty much do it for today's edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching Waking Up with Wesley with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.